All right, it is 8 o'clock and it's time for another virtual happy hour. And each of you have been joining me here just about every night, and some of you are new followers. But kind of wanted to explain, I was going through my Facebook account and I couldn't find the videos from the past nights on the account. I don't know if Facebook Live deletes them or they only stay on for a little while. So I put them back out there so that I can find them again if I need to see them, or to help maybe attract other followers. But anyway, tonight I put out there that we're going to explore some different ways to drink a Guinness Stout. Now, I got Guinness Stout because I like it. There's other stouts out there. I do like a stout beer, a good dark thick beer. About a week ago, we tasted some other stouts and talked about those. But something that's kind of cool about a stout, if you like a little bit of a coffee flavor in your craft beer, which I kind of do. I like coffee and I like the coffee taste. Some of these will have, you'll see some of these dark beers that are aged and used bourbon barrels to give it kind of a bourbon taste, which is also interesting. So I thought, you know what, I can go out and buy cans of that. I have some of that has a coffee, bourbon, chocolate, or vanilla or whatever taste in the beer. But I want to kind of play with some of my own and come up with my own amounts, and maybe a little more coffee, maybe a little less, maybe a little more bourbon, that kind of thing. So I came up with something that I thought I could play around with. That is a Kentucky Bourbon Stout. But now that I mentioned that, a few nights ago we made a Irish coffee using a stout edition of some Irish whiskey Jameson. So somebody's already making a stout whiskey there. So there's all kinds of things out there that you can do. But I like to kind of experiment myself and do some of these things. So what we can do is we come up with our beer drinking glass there. Start out with a good stout. All right. Nice foam on there. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Checking up on different things here. All right, good deal, good deal. All right, now we've got a Maker's Mark, which is one of my favorite bourbons. Put an ounce of bourbon in there. There we go. Now we'll also put some coffee liqueur in there. And this is something that goes good with a lot of different things. I've even seen some ice creams mixed with it. All right, coffee liqueur, nice and thick. All right, Kentucky Bourbon Stout. Let's put some more beer in there. Give that a try. Wow, that's really good. That's almost like a cocktail. And it is National Cocktail Day, according to Facebook. So, no, that's really good. Interesting. I like that. All right. Now, with this being March, and St. Patrick's Day wasn't that long ago, there's a drink that you usually on St. Patrick's Day will go out and see at a lot of the Irish pubs It's called a black and tan. Has anybody ever had a black and tan? It's interesting. If you like a regular lager or a blonde ale, and you also like a dark stout, it's all together. It's a black and tan. Now, there's something that's really takes a little bit of skill, a little practice to get a good black and tan. But you'll see at at a local pub, they'll have a spoon that's hanging by all the tappers, and that's actually the spoon that they use to pour a black and tan. Now, it takes a little bit of practice, and it's designed to be able to come right out of a tap. But I've come up with something that I've used a different way to create a black and tan. It's kind of a crafty way, but we're going to use a nice little Guinness glass, and I just basically took a mason jar lid, and I domed the top, and I put some holes in it so that when you drizzle that stout in there, it doesn't create a huge stream and go all the way to the bottom. But I'm going to show you how to do a black and tan, and let's see if this works the way it's supposed to. Because it does take some practice to make a good black and tan. And a good one comes out pretty nice. First you want to put in your lager or your blonde ale, and you want to make sure there's a good head on there. And I'll explain why. So you want to get a good head on there. And I got my my mason jar there. Now for your black and tan, you just want to, and this may get a little messy, so I'm going to put a little towel up here. Just a little bit of a drizzle on the top there. See what that's doing? Yeah, you want to pour it slowly, be careful, but it makes a really crafty, neat beer if you like more than one kind of beer. Get 2 beers in one, right? And this dark stout, Guinness especially, is really good for this. Let's get all that in there. All right, that worked pretty good. It's something I made over in my on my garage with a hammer and nails. Let that sit just for a little bit. Now that's something you can enjoy with your friends, because you use basically a half a glass of your blonde ale, or a half a bottle, and just a half a can of your dark stout. So either you're gonna set yourself up with 2, or you have a buddy that's going to drink that with you. That's a black and tan. Yeah, they come out really nice. Even in a nice little Guinness glass there. Ah, good. That is really good. All right, another drink that you can create with a Guinness Stout or a stout, dark stout beer. It's called a Trojan Horse. And I've only had a Trojan Horse once, and I thought I would try that again with this. And what that is it's your stout mixed with a Coke hidden into it. And what that does, it gives it a little more caffeine, a little more taste if you're a Coke drinker, if you like rum and Coke or whiskey and Coke or those kind of things. It would be interesting to give it a try. But so far my favorite is, this has been really good with the coffee liqueur, the Maker's Mark, and a Guinness Stout. It's just like a bourbon coffee beer. Oh, that's really good. set up your own little bar, you want to have these little cans of Coke, which is really nice to have. That way you're not using an entire Coke, and I probably won't use this whole thing anyways. But we're going to open up another stout here. And these been kind of foamy. It's a nice, good, thick beer. Yeah, it's got that nitro to it. Boy, that black and tan sure is looking good. Alright, a Trojan horse. Put in your Coke. Almost looks like dessert there, doesn't it? That's so good. Now you say, Todd, why are you doing all this stuff to beer? You know, I just like to drink a beer. You know, I'll go tailgating, or I'll hang out with friends, or go to the bar and just have a beer. That's great. You know, I like to do that too. But sometimes if you like to mix things, it's fun to just play around and experiment and just try different things. But yeah, if you just want to grab a beer out of the fridge and drink a beer, that's fine. But it's kind of nice to try different things once in a while, and that's what this is all about. It's just trying different things. Let's try this stout and Coke. It's actually not bad either. Like I said, it's almost like a dessert. A little more Coke in there. So there you have it. You have a Kentucky Bourbon Stout, a Black and Tan, and a Trojan Horse. And there's different things you can do. There's a drink called a Black Velvet, which may try sometime on one of these. And no, it's not the Black Velvet Canadian whiskey, but it's a Black Velvet where you have I don't think I have one here, like a champagne glass. You fill it halfway with champagne, then you float a stout on top of that. That's called a Black Velvet. And being able to make float drinks like this, it does take a skill, but I made a cheater. That you can cheat to do this. Like I said, all it is a lid from a mason jar, and I took a hammer and I domed it in the middle, and then I took a nail and made holes around the edge instead of having to use a spoon, because using a spoon takes a little bit of skill to do that. This takes no skill, as you saw. And it's domed so that when you pour it right on the dome, it evenly flows, and then it just drips and drizzles out of those holes, and it stays on top. And you can do this with wine. I've seen where they've done put in a beer and then just put one of these and pour a little wine. You got some wine floating on top, or vice versa, which comes out with a nice drink. Now, I've tried this in the past with something like Bud Light or Michelob Ultra, Coors Light, and it doesn't work so well because there just isn't enough body in that kind of a beer to hold up another beer, and it doesn't foam as well as, say, a blonde ale or a pale ale, or even this would be cool with an amber or a red ale. But there's also called Black and Blue, which is done with a dark stout, and Blue Moon, which is a Black and Blue. That would be kind of cool to do at another time. But yeah, you get through the stout, and then you've got another beer down there to drink up. A nice little pale ale. Yes, those are really good. Tomorrow night we're going to try something else. I've been thinking about Bloody Marys. I like Bloody Marys. I like making Bloody Marys, but there's so many different kinds of Bloody Marys that you can do. I'm going to come up with a variety of miniature Bloody Marys, kind of like a flight of Bloody Marys. and we'll try all different kinds of things. Oh, that's so good. Now, to everybody out there that are quarantined, staying in your homes or whatever, cheers, stay thirsty, and thanks for having a drink with me. We'll see you tomorrow.